What's good, everybody? Welcome into Early Edge Live after one of the craziest, most fascinating, weirdest slates of NFL games we will ever see. I, of course, am the coach. This is your daily sports betting brand of record. We are powered, as always, by the almighty SportsLine, the best value in all of sports betting, and it's not close. Currently, still one game going. Raiders, Seahawks, we talked about on the show earlier today. Points abound, tied at 34 in overtime. As we speak, we will sweat that finish together. The Seahawks, by the way, depending on what you had, 3.5 or 4. They did not get the ball in overtime, though, so a field goal wins it for them after the Raiders missed a field goal. But tonight, we're talking about a great matchup. Maybe not in teams, but certainly in brands, and I think it's going to be a really, really good game. Packers and the Eagles. And with that being said, let's bring in the stars of the show. Because, you know, on this night, after the day that we had, I've got to bring in my heavy hitters. Now, Mikey, live from Nashville, Tennessee, the penthouse level. M Squared, good evening, sir.
Good evening, Coach. Proppy Sia. Great to see you guys here. Still sweating a little Vegas and Seattle game over here. What a beautiful day of football it's been. Maybe not necessarily for every bet that's been placed, but certainly if you're a fan of the game, the NFL absolutely delivered today.
There is no question. We're going to go around the horn in a second because I got to know what was the craziest for each and every one of you. Next, he is the most handsomest man in all of the Early Edge universe. Sia Najad, good evening, sir.
Good evening. Very, very excited to watch maybe the third best team in the NFC East play tonight. No, I'm joking, of course. You see Santana Moss behind me. So listen, the Dallas Cowboys are emerging. The NFC East is a great division. The Eagles are going to have to show up tonight because the last couple of games, it's kind of looked like the Eagles are a good team, but not a great team. And I think we know that they're a great team. They just need to prove it to us tonight.
They lost last week, 17-16, their first loss 2 weeks ago to your Commanders. And now I saved him for the last because he is an unabashed. He will not apologize for being the biggest Philadelphia Eagles fan, certainly at the Early Edge of SportsLine. Prop stars, good evening, sir.
Coach, good evening. Cousin Sia. Mikey, great to see you. A wise man once wrote, and I quote, "Fly, Eagles, fly on the road to victory. Fly, Eagles, fly. Score a touchdown. 1, 2, 3."
Well, Mikey's still hoping that Vegas can do it. They're getting the ball back, but now, as we know, second possessions, field goals win the game. However, today the Browns scored a field goal on their second or third possession. So it's possible. It's possible. Now, before we get into our best bets and our props, if you're brand new to the show in the evenings, we do it all. But I need you to do me a solid. Hit that like button. Take the chat down, hit the like button, put it right back up, and keep on talking. I need 500 if you're going to get our goose, which we hit last week, and the donkey parlay around top of the hour. So I need 500 likes for you to receive that. But, gentlemen, before we get to our best bets, I got to go around the horn because when you talk about finishes, it may be the first time in NFL history, I'm not sure, that 2 games ended after a team scored a tying touchdown and went for 2. The Jags did it, and the Chargers did it just moments ago in Arizona. Proppy, let's start with you. What was the weirdest, cool, funniest thing that you saw in all these weird games today?
Yeah, just watching the Chargers pretty much struggle the entire game, really had a hard time establishing any semblance of a running game.
I got to stop you real quick. Does that help you, Mikey? Does that help you?
I mean, it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt, but it doesn't help.
Josh
Beautiful
Jacobs
play.
goes yard, 80 yards for a game-winning touchdown.
Wow.
And the Raiders are celebrating in Seattle. 40-34 is the final, and they get it done. Wow, does that hurt the Seahawks with the Niners winning today? Sorry, Proppy. Back to you. What were you saying?
Yeah, quick shout out to Josh Jacobs. I believe that's over 35 carries, 200-plus rushing yards. That is a grown man stat line. So salute to Josh Jacobs. But, yeah, wild day across the board in the NFL. I was talking about the Chargers just looked ineffective all game long, completely unable to establish any semblance of a running game. I talked about how I really liked fading Austin Eckler today. He didn't even get close. I think he finished with 20 rushing yards. Justin Herbert was the leading rusher. And then in Chargers fashion, they come back late. Really impressive performance from Herbert throwing the ball. DeAndre Carter made some really impressive catches. And then, like Brandon Staley does, going for 2 with the tie on the board to win the game. in Chargers fashion. So that was one of the more impressive performances that we saw today.
Yeah, say what you want about the two-point conversion. The play was brilliant. Just a genius play design. Everett was wide open. By the way, Josh Jacobs, 33 carries, 229 yards. That last one good for 86 yards. If you had him in fantasy, Mikey, go.
Yeah, and 74 receiving yards. He eclipsed 300 total yards of offense by himself today in this win.
Wow. Well, Mikey, just take it right here. What was yours?
I mean, I think it has to be the Jacksonville situation. The way they battled in that game back and forth. They made some huge defensive stands, made Baltimore settle for all the field goals. But I thought it was quite ironic that John Harbaugh, or whatever, Harbaugh likes to go for the two-point conversion and go for it on fourth down frequently. He got to watch someone else do it to him and come out victorious when he's come up short doing that in the past. So, yeah, super, super fascinating to see that game. And when the Titans lost as well, it really shakes things up in the AFC.
Yeah, it certainly does. The Bengals getting it done on the road. 20-16 was the final in Tennessee. See ya. I had the over in the Falcons and the Commanders, but I bought it down to 38.5. That touchdown would have helped me, but you had to be ecstatic. Tip ball in the air. And we intercept the ball in the end zone. Was your team your best today, or was it something else?
It was something else, although that was, listen, when a team is rolling, some of those fortunate things happen. When you get a tip ball and then you get a guy who doesn't normally catch a ball like heading to the ground like that, but that's what happens when you're starting to collect some wins. So props to the Washington Commanders. I gotta say, my surprise is Mike White. I mean, all credit to Mike McClure, who on FFT DFS talked about Mike White quite a bit, but I didn't expect 315 yards, a ton of efficiency, and 3 touchdowns. I mean, he looked like a real deal quarterback. And I think we need to start having a conversation about the New York Jets that's different from the conversation we were having when they were winning with Zach Wilson.
No question about it. They improved to 7-4 and very much alive in the playoff discussion. I think mine is just how you guys use that word all the time, efficient. The Kansas City Chiefs went off at minus 15.5, didn't they? Right? They kick a field goal with 3 minutes to go, and I had them in the second half, so I was ticked about that, but they win by 16. They win by 16, given 15.5. That was crazy. Yes, Alex.
Yeah, speaking of efficiency and your Chiefs and Mikey's Chiefs, I believe Mahomes completed a pass to 11 different receivers, and I believe Mike White did the same thing as well today. So very impressive performance from both quarterbacks.
By the way, they showed a stat. Patrick Mahomes leads through 75 games, is number one in every category in the history of the NFL. He is the standard bearer. All right, let's get into tonight because we're about to have a whole lot of fun. Over the course of the next 20 or 25 minutes, we'll do our best bets. There's only a couple because this one we don't really know which way it's going. If you have a prop that you like, throw it into the chat. We will attempt to get to as many as we possibly can. Then top of the hour, we'll do the Goose Parlay, the Donkey Parlay. They're a ton of fun if you're new to the brand. And then, of course, our gem, we predict the first touchdown of the game. So when I look at this, I'm thinking Northeast. I'm thinking weather. Already in the chat, they're asking about it. So, Mikey, if you don't mind, start us off, sir.
Yeah, not a ton of concerns as far as the weather goes, at least in my opinion, other than it's unusually warm this time of year. It's 61 degrees here at kickoff. We've got wind. That's really all we need to worry about. There's isolated rain. There's chances of a rain shower. Nothing really going to impact the game in a significant way, though. How I would put the weather is like you can note it. It could impact a kick. It could impact a very deep ball. But at this point, I wouldn't make or get off of certain fantasy plays or bets simply based on where the weather is. I think it's mostly a kind of a standard situation here.
All right, I like it. Warm weather, Philadelphia in November. I'm here for it. But last week, Mike, I'm coming back to you. We're going to start our best bets because towards the end, in the last couple of weeks, we're starting to see Aaron Rodgers go back to a very, very comfortable receiver for him. And you like him tonight. Who am I talking about?
I love him tonight, Coach. And that is Randall Cobb. It's kind of crazy that I love Randall Cobb at this point in his career. It's kind of crazy that he's still playing football at this point, honestly. But the reason he's playing football is because Aaron Rodgers has lobbied for him consistently. He likes playing with this guy. Came back last week after the 5-week absence, right in there, 6 catches on 6 targets, 73 yards. The week before he went out, week 5, 13 targets, 7 receptions, 99 yards, hit over this number of 30.5 in week 4, in week 3, in week 2. This number is incredibly low, especially considering where the Eagles are most vulnerable in the passing game is to slot receivers. When you give me a slot receiver that the quarterback absolutely loves for whatever reason, I'm going to play it here. I think this number should literally be 44. To me, it's absolutely insane that it's at 30.5.
You think we're getting 13 yards of value here on Randall Cobb? Wow.
I do, just because the average game script is one where it's neutral or trailing. And if you've watched Aaron Rodgers recently, the thumb doesn't appear to necessarily be bothering him as much, or he's gotten past it. They're throwing the football. I expect them to throw the football a lot here. So I would play it up to whatever your sportsbook has it. I see the question in the chat. I think it's a situation where he either misses and is out due to injury early, or we're looking at another 50-plus yard game from him.
All right. If you missed what Mikey is talking about, Aaron Rodgers admitted this week he has a broken thumb, but he says it does not affect him throwing the football whatsoever. All right. I just got it, by the way. I bet it twice, because when Mikey talks like that, I'm banging that thing. I am. I got it at 31.5. So it's still right around that number that Mikey gave it out. So get it in, but do not wait. Do not wait. Now, Proppy, I'm coming to you, because on the other side, apparently by the prop that you're giving out tonight, you think the Eagles are going to be running the football. They've got a dynamic runner. What's the number, and who do you like?
Yeah, I like Miles Sanders. Gave him out on our Friday show, over 66.5 rushing yards. This is a great spot for Miles Sanders, who's been very consistent this season. He's eclipsed this number in 7 of 11 games. I expect him to get an uptick in rushing volume against one of the biggest run funnels in the NFL this season. That's the Green Bay Packers. Looking at the Eagles, they have struggled the last 2 weeks, losing their first game of the season to Seahawks Commanders, and then barely squeaking out that win against the Colts last week. This is where I think they get back to basics. Also, the Packers have a very solid pass defense, but they are very, very vulnerable on the ground. They are 28th in EPA allowed per rush. If we look at the previous 2 matchups where Sanders was under this number, it was against the Commanders, who are 4th in EPA allowed per rush, and the Colts, who are 3rd in EPA allowed per rush. So those were much more difficult matchups than what we have tonight. I just think the Eagles are going to they kind of got away from their identity, which is running the football. This is a spot where they can really establish the run, have a lot of success. They're banged up in their receiving core. Both players questionable, and A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith coming into the game. No Dallas Goedert, as we know. I really think the Eagles are going to place a very strong emphasis on attacking this Green Bay defense on the ground, where they are very, very vulnerable as well. Packers allow 30 rushing attempts per game, 135 yards to opposing running backs, and they are the 3rd biggest run funnel in the NFL this season. So I love Miles Sanders over 66.5 rushing yards. I'd play it up to 69.5. I've also sprinkled on his alt lines. I think he has a good chance to eclipse 100 triple digits in this game, and I even sprinkled a little bit on Miles Sanders to lead Sunday today in rushing yards overall at plus 2,500 as well.
Oh, man, you're so good at finding those little spots and just boom, boom, boom. And then next thing you know, plus 2,500. Love Miles Sanders. Love Randall Cobb. RJ White on the brand. Eagles minus 6.5. See ya. Do you like that side?
I do like the side. I mean, I think the Packers at this point are a little broken. I think the game plan, the path is certainly to have Aaron Jones run the ball, and that's something they might be able to do. I do worry about Aaron Rodgers' thumb a little bit. At the end of the day, we haven't seen the good Eagles team yet, and I think regression is sort of coming back to the mean. And what I mean by that is I think we're about to see a good Eagles team. So 6.5, it's not 7, so that's kind of the good news there. I would take it at 6.5. I probably wouldn't touch it at 7.
All right, very good. Quickly, Alex, I'm sure you said it. What would you play Miles Sanders up to?
69.5.
69.5. All right. Now I need, please, the voice of God. I need the voice of God, because I've got more plays that are very unique that he needs to give out. God, are you there?
Well, you know what? We are here. I'll tell you what. You know what? We don't want to put a capital W on that, because we don't want to be blasphemous in this one tonight. But we do have a ton of picks. And let me go ahead and put the screen up and see. I know you have one as well here. Get this up. There we go. All right, there we go. We got it. All right. system's going a little haywire on us. We're going to play 4 plays first off. All right, Eagles first half team total over 13.5. They're the highest scoring first half team in the NFL. They're the highest scoring second quarter team in the NFL. We're also going to play Eagles second half team total over 13.5. We're getting both under that key number of 14. The Green Bay Packers give up a ton of points in the second half. We're going to play both of those there. Next, these two together as well. Packers first half and second half team totals both at 9.5, playing them at over. We're going to get under that key number of 10. I think the Packers are going to have more success than people think. Prop Stars broke it down excellently. Both defenses give up running yards, and it's going to open up the pass game for both of them as well. I think we're going to see a good amount of points scored tonight. So we've got those 4. Next, A.J. Brown, longest reception, over 26.5 yards. This is kind of like Prop said, man, like you might see the Eagles running the ball a lot, especially if the game script is positive for them. That being said, you know what? A.J. Brown hasn't really been that much of a factor. And knowing A.J. Brown and how he was here in Tennessee, when he had 2 games that really didn't do much, the next one, he generally goes off. So we're going to take him over 26.5 there. And then lastly, kind of playing with our 2 team totals. Both teams score a touchdown in each half. We only need 1 on each side. I think we're going to see it definitely in the second half. First half, we definitely should from Philly, and I think Green Bay as well. So, yeah, that's how we're bringing it down.
All right, God, thank you very much. And we've arrived to our final bet, and I saved him to last for a reason, because sometimes we like to educate and entertain, and there's a very low number. It can be a stay away, or there can be a reason. See ya. Talk to me.
Yeah, I think the reason we have Jack Stoll at only 12.5 receiving yards is because we have a 1-game sample size of him last week, and he didn't really do anything. He had 1 target, 1 catch for just a very low amount of yards, but he is the tight end 1 for the Eagles. There are 2 other tight ends that get snaps. It's Tyree Jackson, it's Grant Calcaterra, but they didn't get any targets last week, and we only had the 1 target from Jack Stoll. But I think an extra game, now that he's gotten 1 game under his legs, and knowing this game script, and maybe with this weather, I think we might see some sort of easier targets to that Dallas Goedert type role, that tight end role. I think Jack Stoll is a pretty smart play at over 12.5 receiving yards. Let's not forget, the tight end is targeted very heavily by Jalen Hurts. And so I understand it's not Dallas Goedert, but the tight end that is going to be getting the targets, to the extent any tight end is getting targets, it's going to be Jack Stoll. He was on the field for 80% of the snaps last week. He ran a route on 70% of the dropbacks. So yes, he had an unflattering game last week. He didn't do anything. But in this particular game, we could see 3 or 4 catches from Jack Stoll, and that's all we need. Frankly, we might only need 1 catch for 12.5 yards, but I'm expecting at least 2 catches for Jack Stoll, and I expect him to exceed this 12.5 yard total. It should remind you of the Tanner Hudson prop I had for you about 4 weeks ago, when it was 14.5, I believe, was his yardage total, and that was when he came in for Daniel Bellinger, and he sailed over that with like 28, 29 receiving yards. So this is the same type of situation here.
Yeah, it also feels kind of like today probably had David Montgomery, and his numbers like 15.5 and 2.5, and that went over in those catches. So these small numbers, if you can find the right spot, like you guys seem to do a lot, it can be a very, very easy cash. Might wait till the 3rd or 4th quarter, but it can be an easy cash. All right. Now, primetime games is about 10 till the top of the hour. So we're going to race through a lot of these. The beauty of Sunday Night Football tonight is there's a lot of stars, guys, on both sides of the field. So, Mikey, let me start with you, because when you're talking about the Philadelphia Eagles, you got to talk about A.J. Brown. And Proper already said there's been some little injuries here, nicks there. You know, everybody is hurt at this point. His number is 5.5, but it's plus 106, and his yardage is up there a little bit, 74.5 plus 109. What does your model tell you about A.J. Brown tonight?
It tells you that I'm not fading him, but I'm certainly not playing his overs either. Look, he can achieve the yardage of this here on 2 to 3 catches. If I were to play anything, it would likely be the under on the receptions. We've seen him be massively effective in games with 4 receptions in a lot of these games. So with the number at 5.5, my median number on it in the simulation is 4.9. I have a slight lean on the yardage under as well, but it's at 72.5. Not an edge that's remotely comfortable or really playable in this spot. The only way I would really play it is if you thought that they were going to absolutely blow them out and were able to just run all over them, things like that, and have a ton of success defensively, create some shorter fields. I think the game's going to be a little more competitive, and I think it's not the best individual matchup we've seen for A.J. Brown this year.
All right, quickly from the chat, Rebecca has a question for you. You played Randall Cobb. She came in late. Do you like his catches in addition to his yards, Mike?
I prefer the yardage over the catches at this particular number at 30.5. I think that 3 receptions is pretty much spot on. 4 is definitely possible. More is more than possible in this spot. But if I had to play one of the two, it would definitely be the yardage first.
All right, that's the Eagles star. Let's go with the Packers star now. Probably I'm going to come to you, Aaron Jones. We've been playing him a lot this year. He's hit some and he's missed some. His catch prop is 3.5, yard is 23.5, and then of course you come down to his all-important rushing number 55.5, combo 82.5. Anything with Aaron Jones tonight?
I think the numbers are fairly efficient. As far as his receiving props are concerned, I obviously caution frequently about running back receiving props. The Eagles actually have really done a fantastic job this season of covering running backs out of the backfield. They've given up the second fewest receiving yards to opposing running backs this season. So with a bunch of guys healthy for the Packers as far as options are concerned, I just don't know that the targets are going to be there for Aaron Jones. Certainly capable of going over the receiving stuff. I'd be looking more at his rushing. The Eagles really struggle defending the rush this year. It's their biggest Achilles heel, their weakness on defense. We've seen teams really attack them, and that's something the Packers love to do. They love to run the ball, sort of minimize possessions, keep the opposing offense off of the field, and make it an ugly game environment. That's how they're trying to win games, because they don't really have a lot of explosive options in their passing game. So I think if they're able to get going with the running game, you will see a lot of rushing attempts for both Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. So like his rushing yards, staying away from his receiving yards.
All right, thank you very much. Listen to Joel in the chat. He says almost 1,000 people watching. Big audience tonight. Less than 300 likes. You know we don't just give out the donkey and the goose without you earning it. I need 500 for us to do it in about 6 minutes, so I need you to do that right now. Now, see, I'm coming to you because I know that you love to pick out spots with players that maybe other people aren't looking at. But now there's a receiver on the other side of the field for the Eagles that is starting to show why he won the Heisman Trophy. Do you like Devontae Smith tonight?
I like Devontae Smith a lot, and I can tell a lot of people are starting to like Devontae Smith because this was a play I was about to give out at the beginning of the show because I saw it at 57.5, and now I'm seeing in some markets it's all the way up to 59.5. Listen, we have to understand, and this kind of bleeds into the Jack Stoll argument a little bit. Without Dallas Goedert, this is a very concentrated target share. It reminds me a little bit of Seattle, where you've got 2 superstars like Tyler Lockett and you got DK Metcalf. Well, here without Goddard, you have 2 superstars. You have A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. And while Devontae Smith sometimes has those empty games, I think in this game he's probably going to flash. And part of the reason for that is because the Packers throw a lot of blitzes at really all teams, and they'll do it again. They'll do it again tonight. And Devontae Smith is heavily targeted on those blitz packages. He is a guy that when Jalen Hurts has to get the ball out real quick, it's A.J. Brown is one of those targets, but the target share for Devontae Smith goes up against the blitz. And I like Devontae Smith in this spot to potentially get behind the defense, but more importantly, to get a handful of targets. Because again, sometimes the target floor isn't what we want it to be. I think here his target floor is probably in the 6 to 8 range. And I think he's good for 5 to 6 catches. I like him over 57.5 was the number I had before. 59.5, it's starting to creep into a territory I'm not super interested in because of this game script and because of this game flow, because of, for example, the Packers trying to establish the run and potentially the Eagles trying to establish the run. So we're starting to get into a range in the 60s where I'm a little uncomfortable. But if you can get it at 57.5, I like it there.
Okay. And you like the catches too at 4.5. So you'd be comfortable with both, yes?
I'd be comfortable. It depends what the juice is on the 4.5 because that's
minus 145.
I wouldn't pay minus 145, to be honest with you.
Very difficult on props to play that high. All right, thank you. Now, Mikey, let me come back to you because there's a receiver that 2 weeks ago when the Packers were down and out, down by 14, all the numbers said no chance. And all of a sudden, Christian Watson goes absolutely bananas, and maybe he's Aaron Rodgers' new target tonight. Do you like Christian Watson, any of his numbers?
I really don't have a ton of interest in Watson. Look, he's been fantastic the last 2 weeks. He has 5 touchdowns on 8 total targets. Not something that we would project to be sustainable really in any way, shape, or form. Look, both of the running backs can be heavily used in the red zone. Allen Lazard, now he's got Randall Cobb back. You know, Lazard was playing banged up there after he returned and battled some injury. Now you throw in Randall Cobb in there. Both running backs are healthy. It's just not a situation that I would want to attack. I have to say the only thing that I would have, I'm not playing any of it personally. The thing that I would consider playing on Watson if you wanted to play him is I would look at that longest reception number. It's around 17.5 or 18.5. That is where I would like to attack him if you wanted to play him. I don't see a ton of scenarios where he has massive game without at least an 18-yard reception.
That's a great call. He is at 18.5 currently and minus 113 longest catch. So love that, and I'm playing it live because I listen to my guys. I don't know about you guys at home, but I do. Now, somebody in the chat, Alex, said that you had an A.J. Dillon play in your article, which is released on Friday, but you got to be a SportsLine member to do it. Why do you like A.J. Dillon, or did you fade him this week?
No, I like A.J. Dillon quite a bit. I'm glad you brought him up. I was going to speak about him. Yeah, so I think this is a good spot. We're getting a big discount on A.J. Dillon after last week's dud against the Titans. His line opened at 28.5 rushing yards. He's cleared that in 9 of 11 games this season. I know A.J. Dillon has largely been underwhelming this season. A lot of people expected him to take a step forward and sort of, challenge Aaron Jones after his performance last season. Haven't quite been able to get it done, but he's not been as bad, I think, as some people think he has. He's been fairly effective, and the Packers are still dedicated to him. He's had at least 10 carries, I want to say, in 8 of his 11 games this season. The Eagles really struggle against the run. As I mentioned, against the Titans, who are one of the best run defenses, I think they were the best run defense coming into this week, and now we're seeing an Eagles defense that is terrible against the run. So I anticipate A.J. Dillon getting 8 to 10 carries and 30 yards is very obtainable for him. So I love this prop. Actually, it's my second favorite prop besides Miles Sanders.
What would you say if I told you it was 34
in the goose as well? So yes, love A.J. 34.5, I would pass at that number. I'm comfortable up to 31, 32.5. I did see a 31.5 before we went on stream at MGM.
Okay, very, very good. See, I'm coming over to you, and we're only a couple of minutes from the top of the hour, and I know we're not at 500 yet, so if you haven't hit that like button, you can only hit it once. I need you to do it, or you don't get to play the 2 most fun things that we do on the entire show. I'm not going to give them out unless we do, and we will. Now, see ya. Let's talk quarterbacks for a second, because tonight should be a lot of fun. You got the future Hall of Famer Aaron Rodgers, and who knows what Jalen Hurts is going to do, but right now, he's playing big-time football. Last week, he scored a late touchdown to escape against the Colts, but the numbers are fairly low. Aaron Rodgers is only at 219, Hurts at 223.5, attempts 34.5, 28, and completions 20.5 and 18.5. Anything that you like, and when you were doing your handicap or DFS, you said, this guy's going to have a good game.
Yeah, well, I actually looked at the passing yards in particular. I wasn't really interested in the completions. I actually had somebody text me and ask me, if I like the under specifically for Aaron Rodgers or the over for Jalen Hurts. So I had to actually put some time into it. None of them were official plays for me, obviously. I kind of like Hurts's over, to be honest with you, of over 224.5. And I like Aaron Rodgers' I like Aaron Rodgers under of 223.5. Both of them are, it's minus 115 all around. These are not official plays. It's not anything I'm super in love with, but if I had to go one way or the other, it would be Hurts over, Rodgers under.
All right. Very, very good. I think we've got to all of them. Is there any other players? Because we've hit the top of the hour. A lot of people dropping in live right now, 8 o'clock in the East, 5 o'clock in the West. This is the Early Edge for those of you watching on YouTube, listening on Apple or Spotify. We are just about to do the gem, the donkey, and the goose as well. Is there any other players I've missed that you guys want to hit on that you think is important for us to talk about tonight? Or can we move on to the fun stuff? We good? We are good. All right. So for those of you brand new, we do a lot of fun things here at the brand. A lot of fun things here at the brand. But nothing is more fun than staying into it, staying focused for the entire game. How do you do that? A nice little same game parlay. Voice of God, have we hit 500? Yes?
We have, yes.
All right. Thank you very much. Now, I love giving these out. So, Mikey, you give out the donkey, and I'd love, sir, for you to go first. What do we got tonight?
All right, donkey parlay here. If you want to make this a little more spicy, play the Eagles money line instead of the 3.5. However, I think the Packers are somewhat live tonight. So we're going Eagles plus 3.5 alternate spread. Green Bay Packers plus 16.5 over 36.5. Do not play this at 37.5. Remove it if you have to. Aaron Rodgers over 194.5 passing yards. Jalen Hurts over 169.5. And then the 3 Packers receiving yards plays I like. Aaron Jones over 9.5 Alan Lazard over 29.5 and Randall Cobb over 19.5 plus 425 without any boosts applied.
Let me just tell you that if Mikey just says what he says the last 3 or 4 primetime games, he has said, this is a live whatever team. I didn't listen to him. And Mikey, what happened?
They either won or covered. A couple of them won outright. The others covered, yeah.
I suggest listening to him because I am. If he says the Packers are live, the Packers are live. All right. Now, that's the donkey. But we have another same game parlay because we've got a lot of mascots here at the show, and we love all of them, especially Goose. Proppy, you're up.
Love it. Goose has been working overtime in the lab. We went a little bit crazy with this one. Same game parlay plus 625 odds. First up, the man of the hour, too sweet to be sour, Miles Sanders, anytime touchdown scorer. I really think he's going to get a lot of volume today, so I love his chances to get in the end zone. Then we've got the Packers to score at least 13 points, the Eagles to score at least 21 points, Aaron Jones to have at least 40 rushing yards, Miles Sanders to have at least 55 rushing yards, A.J. Dillon to have at least 30 rushing yards. Put it all together in a same game parlay stew. It gives you plus 625 odds.
It's the best tasting stew that there is. What was the last game we hit this on? It was just recently, last game or two.
It was the Bears game against the Falcons.
Yeah, Bears and the Falcons. That's always nice. It's always nice because technically, even though Proppy doesn't want me to say it, he lost a couple of props, but he hit a plus 500. So technically, he was still profitable 11 weeks in a row. He's had a hell of a season, this man. All right, so that's the Goose. That's the donkey. All right. Now, this is when it really starts to get serious because we do this little thing called the gym where we predict the first touchdown of the game, and we're getting down to just a few weeks left in the season. So if there's anybody that's not in the club yet, feeling the pressure, tonight might be the night. So if you are brand new again to the brand, we pick the first touchdown scorer of the game. We are very into this. It's got to be plus 1,000 or higher. You can't take A.J. Brown. You can't take any of these guys that see the ball a ton. It's got to be plus 1,000, and because of Proppy, you got to bring receipts. All right, now, Mikey invented this. He's the very first winner, plus 4,000. Van Jefferson of the Rams. Boy, that seems a long time ago. The Rams stink now. But, Mikey, you always, when you're on the show, get to go first. Who do you like tonight?
Well, look, if you've watched the show for the last 30 minutes or so, I've talked about one Randall Cobb quite a bit. We're going Randall Cobb here, plus 2,500. I don't think the number is appropriate, honestly. He leads the team in receiving a lot of the time that he's actually out there. Some of that is a knock on the team overall. Some of it is just absolute truth. One area in the passing game where the Eagles are vulnerable, in my opinion, is covering the slot receiver. Look, Aaron Rodgers loves this guy. A top receiver on that offense should not be much longer odds than someone like Watson or someone like Lazard. I like this number here at plus 2,500.
Man, finding those areas we talk about all the time, and this is one of those areas. It also helps when the books think that the Eagles are going to score first, so you can get a really good number, a little bit of a boost. I like Randall Cobb. Now, who was the first person to go into the club in 2022? In 2022. Yeah. Oh, it was you, Alex. All right. You're up next, sir.
Yeah, I went Alan Lazard. I was actually surprised to find him. You can find him floating between plus 1,400 and plus 1,600. He is one of the best red zone receivers in the NFL. He's also heavily targeted in the red zone. Aaron Rodgers really trusts him there. 4 touchdowns already this season. I believe he had at least 8 to 10 last year as well. This guy really, really knows how to get open in tight spaces. Give me Alan Lazard plus 1,400 odds.
Oh, chance to get into our newly named, as Steven says. I forgot to say it at the start. It is called Club Cachet. Oh, I love the name of the club. Yes, sir.
And if I get my second pass, I am going to give it to my boss, none other than Mr. Noah Stanley. Hopefully he's in the chat tonight. If I get my second ticket into the club, I will be attending with my plus one, which will be Noah.
You are
Nobody gets 2 in one season. Nobody gets 2 in one season. That's not a thing.
You're right. Nobody does get.
Imagine having 0 at this point in the season, though. That would just be crazy.
All
fair.
right. Apparently, Allison is very close to the clouds because she agrees with the voice of God tonight. AB, who do you like?
Yes, sir. Look, we're actually coming streaming from the club right now. And I'm going to tell you what, while we're in here, if you want to get the club hopping, you throw the ball to Quez Watkins. That's what you do. Plus 1,800. They're going to focus. We got to stop Devontae Smith. We got to stop A.J. Brown. We got to stop Miles Sanders. You have to stop Jalen Hurts. You know what? Quez Watkins going to be standing there wide open in the corner. Catch it. First touchdown. And as Prop said, or Sia said, nobody gets in twice. Tonight, we're getting in twice.
AB, or Voice of God, since you're at the club right now, how does the new sign look with the neon club cachet out front? It
looks great. Yeah, it looks great. The contractors that you hired did a good job. The problem is that we keep kind of spilling shots all over their work. So, yeah, they're going to kick us out at least from the front. We're going to have to go to the back.
Yeah, that's true. But at least we'll be in there to get kicked out like Odell Beckham Jr. did today off his airplane. Did you guys see that video? 6 police officers straight off an American flight. Well done, OBJ. Well done. All right, oh, no. You are not up next. That would be your boy. That would be me, courtesy of my Kansas City Chiefs. 2 weeks ago, I got into the club cachet, and yes, Sia, I'm about to do it for a second time in the same season tonight. And I'm going to go, to me, I like to wait until you guys make your picks. I like to make it more difficult on myself. So I'm going to go Robert Tonyan, plus 1,800. Now, tonight, Aaron Rodgers is looking around. I think he's going to get the ball first. And all the Randall Cobbs, all the Christian Watsons of the world, they're going to be covered. But not Mr. Tonyan. I'm going to go turn around 6 yards out. Let's go up 6-0. I cash it for the second time. Sia, what do you think about that?
I mean, I guess I'll believe it when I see it. I don't think anybody's ever done this thing twice or 3 times for that matter. Like everybody's only gotten in once in any given year because it's really hard to do.
Down on my sheet, we've all gone. Snake does have Christian Watson. I just mentioned him, plus 1,700. So I guess it would be time for you. I guess it's time for you. Go ahead, sir.
All right. Well, welcome to the Jack Stoll Show. I mean, listen, Coach, I appreciate you bringing up the level of difficulty with very popular Robert Tonyan, but the reality of the situation is I'm going to go back to my roots, my Donald Parham roots, and my who was it? Tyson Williams roots. I'm going Jack Stoll plus 2,000, the tight end one for the favorite in this ball game. I think Jack's going to get some targets here, more targets than he did last week. And I think in this type of game, with this type of game environment with the weather, I think a reliable target could be Jack Stoll. And I think I'm getting in the club tonight. For whom the Jack Stolls. Little Hemingway.
That was actually pretty good. Yeah, only us really smart people understand that. You know what I mean? Like the 4 of us, because we're all 4. Yeah, Alex is like, really, Coach? Really? All right, we're down to just a couple of minutes, and a lot of people came in at 8 o'clock. So let's quickly. We only have a few best bets, but AB, let's throw them up. Let's make it about 15 or 20 seconds, guys. Rip through them, and we'll get the hell out of Dodge. Proppy, start us off.
Yep, I like Miles Sanders over 66.5 rushing yards. The Packers are one of the biggest run funnels in the NFL this season. I think we see Miles Sanders get an uptick in attempts, and he has a good game on the ground tonight. Over 66.5 yards. It played up to 69.5.
See ya. Go.
Jack Stoll over 12.5 receiving yards. Listen, he's the tight end one, and he doesn't have to be hyper talented to get over 12.5 receiving yards. 80% snap share last week, ran a route on 70% of dropbacks. I'll take that.
M squared. Let's go.
Randall Cobb, love this number, over 30.5. Aaron Rodgers loves playing with this guy. He's lobbied for him. Where the Eagles are most vulnerable in the passing attack is to opposing slot receivers. Randall Cobb, this number should be closer to 44.
All right. And RJ White is on the Eagles, minus 6.5. In the chat said, no play, Coach. I like the over tonight, around 46, but no official play, but I do like the over. And real quick, I'll rip through ABs. He liked the Eagles in the first half, second half, Packers first half, second half, team totals, 13.5 and 9.5. Then A.J. Brown, longest reception, over 26.5. Then both teams to score a touchdown each half, plus 180. All right. You know we like to end every single show asking my cappers exactly the number one thing that they're looking forward to tonight. You can use this information for tonight's game or maybe into the future. It all matters. You got to keep grinding and keep it in the back of your mind. Mikey, start us off.
I'm looking forward to see if Aaron Rodgers still does indeed like Randall Cobb, because I kind of hope he does at this point with what I'm sitting on tonight. So let's go Randall Cobb.
Oh, man. I don't want to know what this could do for you if Randall Cobb hits tonight. It's always big. It's always big. Let's go, Randall Cobb. See ya. What are you looking forward to?
This NFC East is packed full of talent, full of good teams. And I think it's time for the Eagles to show us that they're the Eagles we thought they were 5-6 weeks ago. I don't doubt that they can do it, but at a certain point, we really got to start questioning if they're the best team in the NFC East. Is that point tonight? We'll find out.
You're damn right. Will we find out? We'll see. Will the switch be flipped? We'll find out. Proppy, talk to me.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the best team in the NFC East, the best team in the NFL compete tonight on primetime Sunday Night Football. Fly, Eagles, fly on the road to victory.
I was confused for a second. I thought the Cowboys played on Thursday, but
yeah. Also, Washington played earlier, so
yeah, that's a good point too. See, that's crazy. It's crazy, but hey, we got you, Alex. We got you, boys. What a great show tonight. What a great show. There's only one thing left for us to do, and I believe you all know what that is. You've got your marching orders. By the way, don't forget tomorrow, a very special Mama Buckets, Mama Coach Parlay, soccer and Monday Night Football. My mom has no idea what's going on, but damn it, she will be a part of it tomorrow and make her picks. She won't be on the show. She's very camera shy, but Mama Buckets, we're hoping. And I was right in the middle of saying, I believe you know what that is. Let's take all of the Sunday night tickets straight to the pay window for my entire crew. Damn it, do I love them all. M Squared, Prop Stars, C and Najad, the voice of God on the ones and the twos, AB. I am the coach on behalf of the entire crew. Thanks for spending your Thanksgiving with us, the entire weekend with us. But let's end it on a positive note tonight and tomorrow. We'll be back for 3 big shows, 10 a.m., 4 p.m., then, of course, Early Edge Live, 7:30 p.m. for Monday Night Football. I am the coach. Whew. Good luck.